Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back with another episode of Hearthstone. We're working down our way towards this mini-series, through this mini-series, in which we are rebuilding all of our decks in after Blackrock Mountain. We hope we've learned something, I think we've learned something, and we've gotten some better cards, I hope. So today we will be rebuilding the Druid deck, and because of that, after that, we will play a couple games. Because of that, and after that. And I'm getting words wrong left and right. Let's go into crafting mode, and let's just talk a little bit about what the Druid's all about. Here you have a card that destroys a minion, has your opponent draw 2 cards. Now that is definitely an indication of what the Druid's all about. The Druid's about causing your opponent to deck. But without a very specific set of cards, you're not really going to be able to pick up, use that strategy very often. It doesn't work enough. Next one is deal damage equal to your hero's attack to a minion. Well, some cards will get your hero's attack up a little bit, but it's not going to be higher than 4 probably. I do like Power of the Wild here. Gives you 2 options, either give a minion +1/+1 or summon a 3/2 Panther. Wrath, deal, once again giving you options, deal 3 damage or 1 damage and draw a card. Anodized Robocub has taunt, and then you can either give it +1 health or +1 attack. Actually a pretty good card to have in your deck, because of the option there. And the 2 mana 2/3 or 3/2 is a pretty good card. Give a minion +4 attack or +4 health and taunt. Lots of options. Give each player a mana crystal or each player draws a card. So most heroes have 2 strategies. One is to cause your opponent for Druid to run out. The other is to just power up your creatures. Bite, give your hero +4 attack and 4 armor. That's pretty good for 4 mana. Give your minions Death Rattle ability to summon as a 2/2 Trent when they die. I've seen people use it. I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody use it for any actual success. Here's one, deal 2 damage or silence a minion. Gain 2 mana crystals or draw 3 cards. Deal 5 damage or deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. That's pretty good for 5 mana. Have charge or +2 and taunt. +2 health and taunt. Druid of the Fang has a unique ability that if you have another beast or any beast, because he's not a beast, on your side, he transforms into a 7/7, which is quite powerful for 5 mana. Dark Wisps, summon 5 wisps or give a minion +5/+5 and taunt. Wish I had that. Dark Whispers. Summon here, Force of Nature, summon 3 2/2 Trents with charge that die at the end of your at the end of the turn. Well, so you might want to use this card, particularly if you're playing with Kel'Thuzad. Recycle, shuffle an enemy minion into your opponent's deck. Okay. Mech Bearcat here. Whenever a minion takes damage, add a spare part to your hand. Ancient Lore, option of draw 2 cards or restore 5 health. Ancient of War, option of +5 attack or +5 health and taunt. We've seen many cards like that. There's at least 3 or 4 in that series. Malorn, Death Rattle, shuffle this minion into your deck. This is the card, one of the cards you would definitely want in your deck if you're trying to play the strategy of making your your opponent run out of cards. Because as long as this guy gets defeated each turn, you'll have 1 more card to draw. Here is the #1 card though that you need if you're going to play that strategy. The Tree of Life. Restore all characters to full health. That includes the heroes. So if you're at 1 health and your opponent's at 1 health, you play this for 9 mana and you're both at 30-30 again. And if you do that when they have no cards left, you'll be at 30, they'll be at 30, you probably will be better off than they will, and they will draw and fatigue and eventually kill themselves. Last card, Scenaris. You're once again given a choice. Choose, give your other minions +2/+2, or summon 2/2 Trents with Taunt. Again, a card I would probably have in my deck. Unfortunately for the Druid, a lot of the cards I have, I'm missing too many of them for it to really work as much as I would like. And so, what's going to really work well with, what neutral cards are really going to work well with a Druid? Well, you could see a couple if we're not going to have any secrets, so there would be no reason to play anything that says secrets. You could try to do a Murloc's deck, but I don't think it's really going to work. None of the cards really mention mechs, and why would they? They couldn't possibly mention mechs because these cards were mostly released before Goblins vs. Gnomes and the character of mechs came out. You could try something, cards that power up cards. You could try Knife Juggler. Sure, you might end up summoning a little bit more characters than normal. I would never play Mad Bomber. Mana Wraith, I'm getting very much away from Mana Wraith. A lot of my new decks don't have that in my setups anymore. At the end of your turn, give a random friendly minion +1. Sure. That is, all these neutral cards will work with them. It's not, though, very much synergizing with them. There's no real synergy there. I could play Cold Light Oracle if I was working the strategy to make the opponent run out of cards. You could try and find a lot of cards, creatures like that, but without that replenish spell, it's pointless. You almost certainly won't get to the point where you're out of cards before you're so close to death that you're about to die anyways. So without filling your health to 30, it's not going to work. They've got it pretty well balanced out where by the time each one of you has drawn 30 cards, one of them should have done 30 damage to it. There aren't a lot of healing. I didn't see any healing in the Druid stuff. There, sure, you can power up things, but not heal them, which is different. Like, Priest is more about healing. So, let's see. Mostly all I can work with are beasts. Yes, I'm using my overlay program again, so I'm seeing what I chose, and I've just slept since then, so I've forgotten what strategy I was even thinking. But yeah, when I look at it, it's mostly I just focused on beasts. Keep the beasts in there so you can play that one card that turns into a 7/7, and that's about all you really can do. Beasts are pretty good neutral characters. So let's go back and start making the deck, and we'll talk about it more as we do. So bye bye the Druid. We delete thee. And now say hello to the new Druid. So these are in order again, so we'll bounce back. I've decided to take the Stone Tusk Boar. It's a beast, it's a 1/1, it has charge. That's not that hard to figure out. And then I'm still sticking with Zombie Chow because I liked him, because it's a 2/3 for 1 and it's Death Rattle that gives the enemy hero +5. Doesn't work out all of the time. It works out sometimes for him, sometimes it doesn't. First Druid card I chose is Power of the Wild. Definitely want this card in my deck. +1/+1 doesn't get used very often. More often than not, it's a 2 mana for a 3/2, which is a pretty good deal. In fact, it's a pretty good deal over here, and it's a pretty good deal over here, which is just about the same, but this is better. because you might want to actually power up something else. So that's Power of the Wild. The next one I chose is Savage Roar. I want this for like late game, end game. Give all your characters +2. I'm kind of experimenting with that. I don't know if that's really gonna work. Druid of the Flame. It can choose transform into a 5/2 minion or a 2/5 minion. New Black Rock Mountain card. I think it works pretty good. I like those options. So that's it. Next one I chose was the Iron Fur Grizzly. Let's see. Where's the Iron Fur Grizzly? He's a 3, so he's a little bit further. There's a lot of flipping back and forth building these things. Here we go. Just a beast with taunt, 3/3. Definitely pretty standard. Then I chose Swipe, which I like Swipe. It often helps. Deal 4 damage to any enemy and then 1 damage to all other enemies. So you can do 4 damage to the face and kill a bunch of 1 creatures, or you could do 4 damage to a really powerful minion and then do 1 damage to the face. Or any other combination. Actually, those are probably the only 2 options. So I like Swipe. That's about the easiest way you can do 8 damage to spells. And next one, I just stuck with my standard Defender of Argus. I wish I had 2 of a lot of these cards, and eventually I will. I think I'm going to start getting cards quite a lot more, because I have now gotten either 2 or 3 watch and learn quests that have gotten me 2 or 3 packs, and I'm going to save that for later as far as opening it after this mini-series is over, but that is cool that I've gotten it so fast. So Defender of Argus gives adjacent minions +1/+1 and taunt. That's definitely works with the Druid style, at least. I still don't have a real strategy there, though. Let's see, I need this in my deck. Making an executive decision. This was not in my deck before, but I am putting it in. The Dragonkin Sorcerer. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain +1/+1. Definitely want that in your deck. So I'm gonna have to take some other things out. But let's see. Piloted Shredder was the next one that I chose. Here we go. Piloted Shredder was in, but I'm gonna leave it out. Instead, I'm gonna take the Dragonkin Sorcerer. It's a much better card. I must have overlooked it when I was building the deck. Dragonkin could be very essential, because remember, there's all these kind of Druid cards that give +1/+1. So next thing I chose was Starfall. Deal 5 damage or 2 damage. Throw that in there. I only have 1, I wish I had 2. Then I chose the Heal Bot. I'm using the Heal Bot in a lot of my decks, just because it is pretty useful, and I find it very annoying. It's a mech. It costs 5 mana, but it restores 8 health to your hero, and it's a 3/3 creature on top of it. It's pretty good. Next one I used was chose Druid of the Claw. Here, choose 1, charge or fate. Only have 1 of those 2, so need to work on unlocking some more of these things. Took 2 Druid of the Fangs, obviously, since I'm getting all these beasts so that the Druid of the Fang will actually work. I better have Druid of the Fang in there. Let's see. And then I've decided to test out some more things. This is a real experimental deck I've built, and maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll make some changes. Anyway, so I chose Emperor Therusian. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. I would probably not play this in my deck, but I guess I'm going to this time. Then I put Hogger in my deck. I'm looking at the deck I built and I'm wondering what I was thinking. I don't know. Let's see. Next one is the Volcanic Drake. Costs 1 less for each minion that died. That's a pretty big experiment right there. Ooh, I must have just not had anything I could have thought of. I must have not been thinking at all, but I'll stick with this deck and we'll try it. So I chose Magus. I guess there are slightly more than average spell cards in this, so sure, why not throw that in there. And then my last card that I chose for this deck is Volcanic Lumber. Taunt costs 1 less for each minion that died. New Blackrock Mountain. That might work. Yeah, I could see why I chose that, as opposed to taking the Iron Bark Protector, which is always going to cost 8 mana for 8 attack and 8 health. Why not potentially get this down to a 6 or 7 thing? So that's 30 now. No, that's 29. What did I miss? I missed something. What am I missing? This is strange. I have 29 cards in my deck. Oh, I took 2 Volcanic Lumbers. It's right there in front of me. So now we're done. Good news, good news. So let's try this Druid deck out. It's down here now because we're working around with the first one we did was Warlock, so once we do Paladin makes its way down here, then we are done with this series. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. 5 more episodes. Let's get into a game. I'm very happy to get watch and learn quests. I hope they pop up even more than they have been so far, because really that just means one less day in which I have to record, which will eventually make me run out of episodes, but okay, that might just allow me to have lesser shorter episodes though. If I could break up the usual 40-minute episode in my deck, in my per day, if I could break up a 40-minute episode in a day into a 2 20-minute episodes, it'd probably be fine with everybody and they'd be happy. One thing that is unique about my overlay program is it doesn't really update itself. So instead of when you make a change, which I did by putting in the Dragonkin Sorcerer, instead of just figuring that out and updating it, it just puts up an error message up here. And it says, cards not found in deck, Dragonkin Sorcerer, and you have to go back into the software and update your deck. It's not too much work, really, after the initial setup, and the initial setup's not that too much work. But if you were, say, always tweaking and adjusting your decks, it would add some work, but then you get some great statistics with it too. It's just counting your wins, counting your losses. Of course, if you're playing on a tablet or cell phone, the Hearthstone deck tracker app certainly can't track those wins and losses, and so you're not going to get the best statistics as you possibly could. But it's so advantageous to play it on different things sometimes, just because maybe my computer's doing something different. Been working on all my computers lately, trying to get them all set up, trying to fix some problems that have been around with just, I'm always short on space is one of my problems. I could really do with just like 4 to 8 to 16 6 terabyte hard drives. If I could get that many, it would really solve a lot of problems. It becomes this whole issue of this. They are such big groups of things that it's not even an issue that I can move one file from one hard drive to the other. It's like I have to select an entire hard drive's worth of stuff, maybe break it up into 2 or 3 sections, and try and squeeze that between 2 or 3 other hard drives that may be the same size or smaller.
One shot, one.
I look forward to having a petabyte on a hard drive at some point in the future. If I live long enough to see that, that would be great. He's using the swipe against me very effectively. So when you have the volcanic drake, the problem is if they get killed on the opponent's turn, it doesn't work.
Shall I strike?
So I don't know why I even chose that. That was ridiculous. It would have made sense if I had enough to summon this, but I didn't, so that's a whole bunch of ridiculousness. Not doing too well. I certainly think I experimented a little bit too much with this deck, and will have to do some more tweaking. But I can't really think of anything specifically that needs to be improved right now, or that I could improve. Let's see. So if I do this, and then give a minion +1/+1. He didn't get the +1/+1.
Give that minion a turn to get
It
ready.
didn't activate. Interesting. What's this? Give your minions +1/+1. Oh, so it gives all your minions +1/+1. I didn't realize that. Ooh. Well, just like that I lost, but I learned something at least. So that card doesn't even work too well with that. They don't synergize. I think some of them will, but maybe they don't. Maybe it's all about just giving every character +1/+1.
Malfurion versus Anduin.
The light shall bring victory.
I must protect the wild.
So this is the type of draw you don't want. You don't want a bunch of 9 things in your first turn. That would be silly. Unless they're special ability 9 mana things that might actually be summoned on your first turn, which would be kind of crazy. If they make a 9 or 10 mana card that somehow could possibly be summoned on the first turn, that would be way overpowered.
Job's done.
So that's the typical thing, is summon a 3/2 Panther. Now I have a beast, so on the 5th turn, if it's still alive, I can do Druid of the Fang. Of course it won't be alive, why would it? That wouldn't make any sense. Notice also I chose no gold cards. Not doing gold cards. I don't think I want to do any gold cards until I can have a full deck of gold cards, and maybe have the hero at gold. I think we should only bling it out when we can do it all in gold cards. I don't like the mix. In fact, I kind of prefer these because there's slight color differentiations. Here, it looks slightly different, whereas the gold is just all gold. And of course, you've heard me say, if you've watched any previous episode, that I really think the whole gold card thought is dumb. Let's see. Do I want to swipe? I guess I want to swipe. Kill this guy. If this guy can stay alive till next turn, I'll become a 7/7. I can certainly see past here where you could get very powerful creatures.
snakes.
I like the new improvement that they've done, where cards that have their abilities met, for instance, becoming a 7/7, turn gold on the outside, so you can just see it visually without having to read it and check and double check. Same is true for like combo cards that if say combo do this, well, that means do play one card before it, and then it will go gold, and then you can
Is
play it
someone
and
injured?
activate the combo ability, which is nice. So notice when you give a creature +2 health, it doesn't activate the Northshire Clerk's ability. It's only when a minion is healed. So if it's given +2, maximum health doesn't count. Alright, so I could do a 2/5, which would be kind of silly. Or a 5/2. So I'm gonna choose a 5/2 Firecat form. Not gonna play that. We'll play that. Attack that.
For the wild.
And attack that.
Job's done.
And end my turn. Now he could activate the cleric's ability by healing me, and in specific scenarios that might be the right move. Powering this one up. Alright, so if I do this, and this, if I killed one more thing, I could have made it to that. So I could take a hit to the face. So I
For the
wouldn't do that.
wild.
That's a lot of damage. Doesn't matter, unless he can destroy the Iron Fur Grizzly or silence it or do something to get it out of the way. He's gonna have to attack with this creature and then kill it. So I should be at the advantage here because next turn I'll be able to attack with the Druid of the Flame. I don't think Thought Steal is a great card for any deck. Stealing your opponent's cards, however you do it, whichever of the few cards that are out there, just doesn't make any sense. Alright, so 3 damage to everybody, 9 to the face. Alright. At the end of your turn, summon a null with taunt. Sure, why not?
For the wild.
Let's go ahead and smash the face.
Job's done.
Same scenario as the turn before. Gotta get past the taunt guy or you're gonna die. She was able to do it before. Will they be able to do it again? Wow, I guess they are. Well, if he attacks the face, I can at least use this creature to kill him. Again, Thought Steal. Alright. So here's what I want to do. This is 9 right now, so I could just summon it. But if I kill this one and then kill this one, that will be 3 dead. Down, that'll be 6. And it will make this cost 6 and this costs 3. 6 and 3 is 9. That's 2 cards out. Just like that.
Job's done.
2 very powerful cards for what they cost. Next turn I can throw out Chromagus. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy in your hand, sure, why not? I don't know if I really would have this in my deck. It seems kind of silly. Just duplicate your cards. It's not going to cause you to run out of cards any slower. It's just gonna have your hand full faster. Really, he had the same card. Interesting. How? Oh, because he stole it. Using thought stealing. That's how he had it. Alright. This. And this. I guess I just have to take this guy out. There's no other way around it. Might as well just take him out now. Even though I spent that hard work to summon those two guys, I just have to play board control and get rid of them. But I've got two other guys, so it's not too bad. I want to get this guy out pretty fast. Get that 8 health up. Darn it. Wow. Back to 30. Back to 30. Alright, so we've got 2 of these guys. It's gonna be quite helpful, actually. That gets me up to 29. I'm just gonna smash his face. So, in theory, without playing like Gang Up or any other cards, using just Cro-Magnus, you would play a card 4 times. But if you did that with Gang Up and Cro-Magnus, you could have the same card and just do it over and over and over again. 4 damage to all enemies. Do we want to race for the face or do we want to? Let's see.
Where shall I strike?
So that's.
Where shall I strike?
Do 2 of those and hit the face. That should leave me pretty well protected. I kind of like the Cro-Magnus in combat, in concept. It's just too expensive and not that useful. I mean, I love the concept of having 2 copies of your cards, but I'm using all my mana each turn. So I'm at 10. If I could get something with charge, and then play this. Well, I think this will work. This puts us at 14, 16, and I have 2 swipes. So I can only use one of them, but that should be fine. Smash the face, smash the face, get him down to that. Go ahead and play the swipe here. And win. It's a pretty good deck. I mean, it probably needs some work, and I definitely feel I need some better cards, but I think that's a pretty good deck. So I think I'll just leave it at that. That's 1 loss, 1 win. And so we'll just call that the end of this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me, there's 2 ways to do that. One is by clicking on my name, Rydo, on the right, and clicking the blue button that says support this channel. The other way is clicking on the Amazon.com affiliate link down below and shopping normally. If you want to follow me on practically any social media, or friend me on Steam or Battle.net. All that information is down below also. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.